We're on our way to Broadway this morning. Now, I know that Broadway's somewhere that we've been to a lot because it's definitely, I would say it's probably my favourite kind of town. My favourite place in the Cotswolds where there's something going on is probably Broadway. So we've been a lot. I'll try and show you some different bits this morning. But I was also thinking last night that what I'll do is in my description, I will also link all of the other videos that I've ever done that have included the places that we've been to in this vlog, but obviously there'll be different parts of the places that we've been to. And also any vlogs that include places that I've mentioned either yesterday or that I'm about to mention today. So for example, I've got a vlog where I've been to the Pig in Barnsley and the Village Pub in Barnsley. And today, two places that I wanted to mention because they're on the way to Broadway, but I won't have time to go to them today. But I just thought I'd mention them to sort of give you more options if you are here for the weekend. So one of my favourite places to go for a walk is Upper and Lower Slaughter. They're two villages, but they're so close together that you can just walk between them. There's nothing much there other than there's a little van that sells coffee, and then there's a pub and like a place to stay there. But they're just very pretty. There's a stream that runs through them. Just think they are worth visiting if you have time. And I know I've definitely been to the Slaughters in previous vlogs, so I'll make sure I've linked that. One thing that I thought I would mention is Bourton-on-the-Water, because Bourton-on-the-Water is in almost every single video that I ever see, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, anywhere. Bourton-on-the-Water always comes up as a recommendation of somewhere to go in the Cotswolds. So I thought I'd explain why it's not in my personal, and it's just my opinion, but my personal top recommendations. And this is just my opinion. You might absolutely love it, so by all means completely ignore it. If you have time, you might as well go and see it and make your own sort of judgment on it. But for me, although I did go a lot growing up, for me personally, it is just too busy now. And I also think there are places that are really similar, like Stowe and Broadway, that are also busy, of course, but I think they have a better selection of shops and restaurants and cafes and pubs than Bourton. It is a shame because Bourton once would have been, and was when I was growing up, so pretty. Again, it's got a river through the middle of it, and it should be so picturesque. But just for me, I think a lot of the time, if you are coming to visit the Cotswolds, it's probably because you want to see a real countryside break, a break away from the city and the crowds and the cars, and to see a much more rural, sleepy side of England. That's why it's not somewhere that I ever go. With that being said, I think it might be quite good for children. I think there are loads of activities and things to do there. So if you are coming with children, I could be completely wrong. I obviously don't have children, so I don't know too much about it, but I think it's good for families. Also, it is right by the Slaughters, which is what made me think of it. So I guess if you're going to the Slaughters and you're curious, it's probably worth just making your own judgment and going to see. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, all of that to say that if you are nearby the Slaughters and you fancy just like a really lovely walk around a couple of villages, then I would recommend that. And also just by Broadway, there is a village called Snowshill, which has a really lovely pub that has gorgeous views, and there are so many nice countryside walks that go from Snowshill. There's also Broadway Tower, which again is worth visiting for the views and for the walks. So there's lots to do sort of in and around Broadway. But for me today, the plan is to go to Broadway, have a look at some of the shops that we always go to, try and show you some sides of Broadway that I probably haven't shown before. And then, of course, this is very predictable, go to the Broadway deli and pick up some lunch. But I'm actually taking my lunch with me for a picnic today at stop number 2. So I'll stop talking now and let's go and get the day started. I just had to quickly pop home. I also picked up my new bag, which I want to show you. So this is the Songmont Song bag, which is one of their signature designs. And I'm actually working with Songmont on this part of the video. So I thought I'd show you all the reasons why I love this bag so much. So first and foremost, it's the colour. So this colour is called Agarwood, and it's this really beautiful, sort of deep, rich chocolate colour that I just love, and I think goes with everything. I also think it's timeless in terms of the seasons. I think you can wear this all year round, which I love. The bag is made from a really high quality tumbled leather, which gives it this really unique sort of matte textured finish, which I just think is gorgeous. And all of the gold plated hardware is fade resistant, so they really are designed to last a lifetime. But I think what I love most about the bag is that it doesn't only look good, it's also really practical and so versatile. So with the straps, for example, in terms of how you can carry the bag, this long strap is completely removable. So obviously you can wear the bag over your shoulder like this, or you can wear the bag crossbody, which I love doing when you've just got loads of things in your hands. But then, as I said, the longer strap is completely removable. So you can also wear the bag just like this over your arm, or probably the way that I carry it the most is just in my hand like this, because it's this really sweet sort of basket design. And I also always leave the long strap on as sort of like an accessory. I think it looks really good on the bag. I've just popped you down to show you inside the bag, because inside the bag is just as versatile. So you have these little bits that fasten the bag and help it be more secure, but then you also have this completely removable internal pouch. So there's a zip pocket at the top. I like to keep bits of makeup and just whatever I might need throughout the day in there, but then there's also 4 of these little pouches around the edge to pop your phone in, your credit cards, anything like that. But as I said, it's completely removable, so if you would prefer just to use the bag as more of kind of a basket bag and just throw everything in, then you can choose to use it that way too. And there's another clip on the inside too, this little gold clip, which just again helps to make everything in your bag stay really safe and secure. And I also love that it's quite structured but also very relaxed at the same time. I just think it makes it really wearable and kind of just effortless. I love it. So I do have a discount code, which is HannahA12, which I will leave on screen here, and I'll also leave a link to this exact bag in my description. So I'm going to go and pack this with all of the bits that I need for the day, and then let's get going. One thing I would really recommend doing if you are coming to Broadway is walking right to the very top of the high street. It's completely residential up here, so there are no pubs or shops or anything. But for that reason, it's relatively quiet, or very quiet actually. I mean, I'm walking down the middle of the road and the houses are so beautiful. The one thing I will say is if you are coming up to this end of the high street, it's a no-through road anyway, so definitely walk rather than bring your car, because you can see so much more and see all the detail on the buildings, but also that keeps it really lovely and peaceful and just really nice for the residents that have obviously lived here for years and years. This is my favourite at Home with the Ruds. Okay, I've got my picnic from the deli and we're at Hidcote Gardens. I am so excited to be here because although I've been to Hidcote in recent years, I haven't actually been into the gardens since, I honestly don't know, maybe even since I was a child. It might have been that long. And I have so many memories here because this is where I spent a lot of my childhood. So I did a video, I think sort of this time last year, where I went around with my mum and revisited all of my childhood homes in the Cotswolds and all of the villages that I grew up in. And Hidcote was in there. So there's two Hidcote villages. There's Hidcote Boyce, which is where I lived and my family lived. And then there's Hidcote Bartram, which is where we are today, which is where my childhood best friend Grace lives and her family still live. So I spent so much of my childhood sort of in and around these two villages, and Grace's house backed onto Hidcote Gardens, which is a national trust and is where we're going now. But there was a gate from Grace's garden into the Hidcote Gardens, so we used to go through the gate and just play in the gardens when they were closed, and I have so many memories of that. And so much of this I talked about in that first vlog. I'll make sure that I've linked that in my description as well. But my memories of Hidcote are just playing in the village, completely free roaming. Our parents would just let us walk from village to village across the fields, meet halfway. We'd do strawberry picking on Grace's farm. We would feed the lambs. We would play on the hay bales. Grace's dog Buzz was just always free roaming around the whole village. Everyone knew Buzz. Grace's grandma used to have free roaming chickens just all around the village. And they're probably some of my fondest childhood memories. So I just really love it here. And I'm excited to go and see the gardens. So I'm going to take my picnic and let's get going. Just to show you what I got from the deli, I got a mix of 3 salads. So there is a lentil salad, a cauliflower kind of rice salad, and then this potato salad that's got sweet potato and new potatoes in. And I also got a coffee actually. We spent so much of our childhood in these barns, feeding lambs and climbing on hay bales and just doing whatever you do when you're 4, 5, 6, 7. I think this must be the gate that Grace and I used at the back of her house to get into the gardens, but this is going back such a long time because we were so little when we used to do this. I also don't know if you're allowed, but I'm pretty sure no one's going to tell us off because we were probably about 7. But yeah, we used to come through, I think this gate. Grace will watch this and probably tell me that I've got this completely wrong, but I can't imagine which other gate. First signs of spring. So if you saw the video where I was visiting my childhood homes, you can just about see the village that I lived in, and then Grace and I would just walk across these two or three fields. And obviously this is the village that Grace lived in, but I didn't realise you could see the village from here. Okay, final stop for the weekend is Campden. This is somewhere that we have been to fairly recently. So again, I'm going to try and show you some different bits today, and we're going to do the walk from Campden to Broadcamden, which I would really recommend. It's a really nice walk, and Broadcamden, although there's not much there other than a pub, it is a very pretty little village and some really nice walks around there. So I'll show you something different today, but I will of course link the original vlog, so you've just got sort of everything that there is to see in Camden. If you didn't see the last vlog that I did in Camden, then you might not know that Camden is where I went to school. So it's somewhere that obviously I've spent so much time growing up. I also went to play school and primary school in Camden. It's another old market town with lots of shops and restaurants and cafes and coffee shops and all of that sort of thing. Lots of really gorgeous old buildings again, of course. And then, like I said, we'll also do the walk over to Broadcamden. My best friend's family used to live in this house, and her mum did such a beautiful job of renovating this house. It is so gorgeous inside and out. So I spent a lot of time, that would be my teenage years, I spent a lot of time in this house. And actually her mum really inspired, she put in such a huge, beautiful kitchen, and it really inspired me to want a really big sort of kitchen as the heart of the home in my future house. So lots of memories in there. It's really starting to sound like spring. I'll just stand here quietly so you can listen to the bird song. Has been a couple of days. You are currently on my phone, propped up by the side of my bed. This room is actually a complete mess, but I think I'm quite conveniently hiding most of it with this huge dressing gown. I pulled everything out of my wardrobe this morning to find an outfit, and it is of course exactly where I left it this morning, which kind of sums up how I feel like life has been going recently. I thought I'd just come and sit and have a chat with you to finish the video. It's a couple of days later now. But I was just editing this. It's Saturday night, so it's literally just before you'll see this tomorrow. But I thought I'd come and chat to you because I just feel like that's something we haven't done a lot of recently. I know I did a bit of I did a whole kind of chatty video a couple of weeks ago, but even then I feel like that was very much kind of on specific topics rather than just what's going on in general life, which I'm hoping I can get back to just sharing kind of in the vlogs every week like I usually do. But like I said, just life at the moment just feels like it's going at a million miles an hour. I feel like the weeks are just flying by, and yeah, I've just been feeling pretty overwhelmed recently, just to be honest. I'm not sure what it is, but I know that all of my friends are feeling the same way. Maybe it's the phase of life that we're at, maybe it's a busy time of year, I don't know. Maybe it's that it's been a really long winter. I think it could also just be that, you know, I think we really underestimate although we've had a really gorgeous couple of weeks, I think the days are still quite short. Sort of have the impression that the days are running away much quicker just because the days do feel, well, they are shorter, the daylight hours are shorter. But anyway, I don't know. But yeah, I've just been feeling a lot overwhelmed recently. And yeah, and just like dropping the ball a lot more. Even really small things, like the other day I forgot to take the bins out. And just being late on things and missing emails and just signs, I think, that for some reason I'm finding just things overwhelming. But actually going to Thailand quite soon, which I think will be a nice change and a nice break. Some longer days. Are they longer days actually? I always get really confused because I know in Australia, I was so surprised when we went to Australia a couple of years ago that I think even in the summer it gets dark there at like 6 or 7, I might be wrong, but they don't have, you know, here it gets dark at like 10 o'clock in the summer. They don't have that there, so I don't know. But anyway, the days are definitely getting longer. It's still sort of daylight-ish until about 6 now, which makes a massive difference from 4 when the days are the shortest. So I'm sure we're all collectively, because I'm sure if my friends and I are all feeling overwhelmed, I'm sure we're not the only ones. So for those of us that are finding things tricky recently, I think we're nearly there. It actually really started to feel like spring this week, which is a really welcome change. I'm always a bit hesitant to talk about anything, to be completely honest, because in the back of my mind I can almost sort of like write the comments myself of just like how I don't know, you know, how I don't know what stressed is, or I don't know what overwhelmed is, or I don't deserve to feel those things. Which honestly, in some ways, I suppose I can sympathise with, because I think it's a bit of a sort of vicious circle of me not wanting to sort of say the wrong thing, so saying nothing, but then that obviously means that I'm not showing, I suppose, or talking about sort of all sides of my life and how I feel and what I'm experiencing. So then it probably does look like I have things pretty sorted and pretty not saying for a second that I don't have the best life and that I'm not incredibly lucky and incredibly grateful, because I absolutely am. I am grateful every single day, but also there's always just things. We all have our own things going on. So yeah, anyway, I don't know how we got there. I'm actually going to Thailand pretty soon, so I've got an awful lot of sorting out to do before I go to Thailand. So I imagine maybe next week's vlog will be something along those lines of trying to just like get everything sorted before I go. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I had a really gorgeous day on the day that I filmed this. Yeah, it was really nice. I think I'm such a nostalgic person. I love sort of like reliving and reminiscing on things that I did when I was younger. So yeah, I had a really nice time filming it. So I hope you enjoyed watching it. And I will leave all of the details again for the holiday cottage from the start of the video in my description, along with the discount code that I have for the cottage. Not an ad at all, just I explained this last week, but I just got talking to the owner. So I'll leave all of that in my description, but I hope you have the best week ever. I can't wait to catch up next Sunday. Bye guys.